Thibaud, I'm going to start because obviously, I mean, you're here for as a reflection of your career, but Skunk is the film that's kind of, they've sort of put you forward for, I suppose, or nominated for in that regard. And that film completely, it took my breath away. I thought it was the most incredible performance, and it was such a brilliantly well-devised kind of piece of cinema that really affected me. How do you prepare for a role of that nature? And is it quite overwhelming and intimidating knowing where you've got to take your mind and your body to?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. It means the world to me to have these responses. Um, yeah, I knew. I read the book immediately when I knew I got the part, so I knew it was going to be tough. Um, so whenever I did the casting, I was always like prepared for the worst that could happen. But to prepare, yeah, I really took a year to, or I got a year to prepare for it, and it was mostly like working out, changing the way I looked, the way I spoke, relearn my accent, and then also go into the environment of these children, getting to know them, how it, yeah, how they live, how they feel. Um, so I really went to like these shelters to prepare. Yeah.
And when you did go and you met a lot of youngsters, I mean, I'm assuming when to see how a system and how circumstances can fail people is obviously quite emotional. How was that experience meeting them? And did you sort of stay in touch with any of them? Did you forge any relationships with them and sort of to get to know them at all? Or did you have to keep a bit of a distance to be more of an observer, I suppose?
Yeah, it was more. I had to observe them, and it also feels a bit wrong to do it as well because you feel like such an intruder. Because you go back home. I went back home to my parents and got like a nice meal to sleep, and that just feels so bad. Um, like you cannot get to know them in 2 days. Um, but I do took them with me whenever I went to like the set. I still remember them so well, and I really learned that there's no ways of coping with trauma are so different than you expect. Like how, yeah, some people are so locked up in themselves, and some people are so violent, and they that really gave me a lot to work with. That it's not, how can I say it? It's not rational coping with these feelings.
I'm interested to know as well because it is such an affecting. I mean, sort of project for you and as a role as well. What was it quite? I mean, obviously it's a brilliant challenge for an actor. These are the kind of roles you want to get. But when it was all over, did you almost need to go on holiday? Because you must have been emotionally quite exhausted. Well, I imagine you might have been.
Well, it took me a year to realize what I had done. Like I was living with like this proud feeling of I did it, I managed, I felt strong for a long time. But then, like the second year, that was when it all hit me, or these feelings that you notice this is still in my body and I don't want that. I want to leave this narrative as well and this character. These feelings aren't mine. But now the release is finally here. We had a premiere, and that helps with like the closure.
And I didn't realise until you were on stage at the press presentation talking about a role where you played 5 different women. How was that kind of experience for you, and how important is it that people feel a safe space to express their femininity?
Um, oh yeah, that's a good question. Like with this project in particular, it was really to free myself from it. I don't expect anyone else like do whatever you want, but I for me it's so strange because it's something I struggle with in my personal life, but it has always been like a good thing as an actor. So I really wanted to like just develop it because you have like this Cillian Murphy movie where he plays like a woman as well, and I think it's so cool if you can shift completely. So for me, it's also a dream as an actor to broaden, like completely stretch that range.
My sort of final question, really, I was just wondering, because I've been speaking to some of the shooting stars already, and it's obviously this means so much to you guys. It's such a big deal. I mean, when you're here, I think sometimes people realise the magnitude actually of this kind of event. But I wanted to go back to when you first found out you were a shooting star and how you first felt initially, and who was the first person that you told?
Well, when I first got the news, I didn't know what it was really, so I had to look it up, and then on Wikipedia, and had like the list of all the former shooting stars and James Bond, and then I was shocked. Then I was like, oh my god, what is happening? But it really came out of the blue, and I think, yeah, I just immediately called my mom and my dad to tell them, and they were also like, what is it? What is about to happen? Yeah, and no other persons. I think I really it was for myself. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, and it's very much deserved. Like I said, Skunk is a wonderful film. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey You Guys!